這短片節錄自聖陛下第17世大寶法王泰耶多傑與喇嘛章帕泰耶的對話，並加以翻譯為中文，有粵語及普通話可供選擇。請在下面的資訊欄取得資料。第一節，怎樣找一個正宗的佛教導師？
Thanks for talking with me now. I've been thinking about questions people have been bringing up to me over the years, and I thought perhaps I'd like to ask you what your feelings or responses are to some of these. So one is very important. I also think it's important looking around the Dharma world at the moment. How would you suggest that people think about finding an authentic teacher? What would be the way they'd be able to identify authentic Dharma teachers nowadays, with Dharma being still very new in the West?
喇嘛問：法王陛下，感謝你與我交談。我一直在思考這些年來人們向我提出的問題。我想也許我應該問一下你對其中一些問題的感受或反應。其中一個非常重要的問題，這也是我環顧目前的佛法世界後所覺得重要的一個問題。你會如何建議人們去尋找一位正宗的導師？佛法在西方才剛興起，那麼我們如何才能辨別正宗的佛法導師呢？
I like to think of that, those not tantras or sutras or even shastras, but there are a few of those poetic lines that quite a number of Tibetan Buddhist masters have said in the past, things like as long as there's devotion, then Bodhisattva, a Bodhisattva or Bodhisattvas are sort of simply around. I like to think of that. It gives me great comfort because I don't know, not to think of it in a morbid way, but somehow I suppose probably those poets are sort of put in a manner, probably it's in a more poetic way, and so therefore to say as if where there's darkness there's light or something like that, but of course that gets idealized very often.
法王回答：我喜歡這樣思考，一些密宗或佛經，甚至論典裏有一些詩句記載了，很多藏傳佛教大師都曾經說過，只要我們有虔敬心，那麼一個或多個菩薩便會出現在身邊。我喜歡這麼想，這給了我極大的安慰。我們不要以一種負面的方式去想他。我想那些詩人可能以一種更詩意的方式來表達，就像是說那裏有黑暗，那裏就有光明，或諸如此類的說法，都常常被理想化。
But otherwise, I like that idea that, or that feeling probably, that Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, their activity is endless, limitless, timeless, and so in that sense, it's always present. So in that sense, probably what I'm about to say, sort of thing, probably is not too dramatic, aspirations, blessings, especially when we talk about aspiration of Bodhisattvas, it seems to overwhelm all of the emotions, all of the conditions or universes of conditions. That's not to say somehow the good will always win in that sort of format, but Yeah, that's there.
但我喜歡這個想法，或這個感覺，即是佛和菩薩的活動是無止境的、無限的、永恆的。從這個意義上來說，他們一直存在。所以我接下來要說的事情，可能就不會太誇張了。祈願、祝福，特別是當我們談到菩薩的祈願時，這些祈願似乎壓倒了所有的情緒、所有的條件、世界裏的狀況。這並不是說善良總會獲勝，但確實如此。
So anyway, having said all that, then the so-called reality of ours, at least here in this situation, is that if I use the word appalling, probably is not so auspicious, but nevertheless, it's quite appalling. Yes, and meaning that probably it was always that way. Yeah. Probably there was not much room for aspiration, I don't know. But nevertheless, I said something strange yesterday. I said something along the line of, well, I use some dramatic terms, but nevertheless, sort of the eagerness is there to teach, to guide, or to say, to give initiations, you know. Whereas probably some time ago, maybe not so long ago, it was the other way around, and for a long time, you know, in a historical manner, that maybe we had the eagerness, or yes, we had the eagerness to actually to learn, to study, to contemplate, to meditate, to practice, and now it seems to be either forced or I don't know by what habit. It seems to be the other way around. Yeah. And this is not in any way to create some sort of provocative notion about what is the so-called real state of Buddhism or something like that, but somehow there is that feeling. Yeah.
說了這麼多，我們所謂的現實，至少在現在的情況下，是惡劣的。可能惡劣，這詞語顯得不是那麼吉利，但無論如何，我們身處的這個現實是惡劣的。意思是，可能情況一直都是這樣，可能沒有太多的祈願空間。但儘管如此，我昨天說了一些奇怪的、具有戲劇性的話。我說，現時導師們渴望去教導、引導，去給予灌頂。然而可能在不久之前，情況恰恰相反。從前，很長一段時間以來，我們都渴望學習、研究、思考、禪修和實踐。而現在，似乎要麼是迫不得已，要麼是由於不知什麼的習慣，情況是相反的。我不想用挑釁性的說話來描述佛教的真實狀況，但不知何故，我覺得情況是這樣。
And so, is this good? Is this bad? I don't know. If you have to force and say that this is a good thing, then maybe it's to say it's the last throw of dice or something. You know, if you have all four legs or hands on, that feeling of the ground, then maybe we feel that there's a sense of stability. And once one of those legs are removed, then we feel a little bit more wobbly. And of course, we have terms like Kali Yuga and so on. And so therefore, I don't know. Maybe we are there.
這樣好嗎？這很糟糕嗎？我不知道。如果你必須強迫我說這是一件好事，那麼可以說這 這是最後的關鍵時刻。如果我們把四肢按在地上，我們會感覺穩定，但一旦其中一條腿被移除，我們就會感覺更加搖晃。我們也有末法時代 Kali Yuga 的說法，我們可能到了這關鍵時刻。
But then again, to now swing on the other side, then to say things like out of the 1002 Buddhas, Shakyamuni's so-called reign is a unique one, you know. So in that sense, that's probably where the so-called the era or the Yuga or Kali Yuga probably is in some ways very, very special. Yeah. So although things may have turned around dramatically in terms of maybe we have no choice but to promote Buddhism, maybe that is still okay. Yes.
但話又說回來，現在換個角度來說，在1002尊佛中，釋迦牟尼的時代是獨一無二的，所以所謂的時代或 Yuga 或末法時代 Kali Yuga 可能在某些方面是非常特殊的。在這時代，情況可能發生了巨大轉變，讓我們不能不弘揚佛教。也許這仍然是好的。
But probably this is no room to use the word but, and instead probably something like and.
Different conjunction.
Yes. And therefore, maybe we can still make the best use of it. Yeah, whatever is left. Yeah, whether it's our bad health, age, any other somehow also like state, you know, we can still do something. And in that sense, not really to say emphasize the word hope in English, but probably maybe there are countless of opportunities, you know, if you are keen. Yeah.
但是也許應該說同時，無論情況如何，也許我們仍然可以充分利用它。不管是我們不健康、年老，還是怎樣，我們還是可以做些東西。我並不是要強調希望這個詞，但也許我們還有無數的機會，只要我們仍然熱誠。
But keenness, I think, is still there. I can see it everywhere, and it's especially wonderful to see that in what we say the next generation. You know, it's wonderful to see that. It's too foreign for them. It's too different for them. Yet, nevertheless, when you see that out of the ordinary factor, then you almost, for a moment there, would like to believe that probably a lotus out of the mud probably is still possible, you know. And so in that sense, yes, hope probably is there. But how do we nurture that? Yes. And so therefore, that nurturing aspect, I think it depends a lot on what we say, master and apprentice, or masters and disciple or teacher-student bond is still very much alive, I suppose, you know. Having said that, is it some sort of a gamble? Probably it always was, it always is, it will always be, meaning that it is always a surprise, you know. Yeah, I mean that's still putting it very mildly. Yeah.
我認為熱誠仍然存在，我到處都能看到，在下一代年輕人中能看到熱誠，尤其令人高興。佛教對他們來說太陌生，太不同了。 但當你看到那個不同尋常的因素時，你幾乎會願意相信，也許污泥中能長出蓮花，仍然是有可能的。是的，希望可能還存在，但我們要如何才能培育這種精神呢？培育很大程度上取決於師徒關係，這種關係仍然非常活躍。話雖如此，但這師徒關係是否一種賭博？或許它一直都是，現在也是，將來也一直如此。它總是個驚喜。我這樣說已經是比現實較溫柔的了。
Meaning any one of us, whether we think of ourselves as a teacher or a student, until we get that aha moment, and the genuine one, then until then, we can still, I don't know, deviate our way. Yeah, I think it's always possible. And so, in that sense, the version of Buddhism that we, not to say way, that is, if it's coming from a good heart, then that is portrayed around is probably focusing on that aspect, because we have probably no real room to talk about the real preciousness of Dharma, Buddha Dharma. It's too far. And instead, we have to talk more along the lines of human emotions, everyday things, to a point where maybe we develop some sense of comfort, stability, and mostly merit, meaning not emphasizing too much about the wisdom, and mostly about merit. And merit, I think it begins from home, whatever version of home we have.
意思是說，無論我們將自己視為老師還是學生，直到我們得到那個真正頓悟的時刻，直到那時，我們仍然有可能會偏離我們的道路。因此，我們所描繪為佛教的這個版本，若是出自於善心，可能都側重於師徒關係這方面。因為我們大概沒有真正的空間去談佛法的真正珍貴性，那是太遙遠了。相反，我們多數談論人類的情感和日常事物，以便讓我們產生舒適感、穩定感。還有，主要談論功德，意思是不太強調智慧，而主要強調功德。而我認為，功德始於家，無論我們有什麼樣的家。
Meaning, we could be at a very certain stage of or age of life, and still struggle to find a sense of home, And so, I don't know, Buddhist environment, whatever version that we have, form that we have at the moment, probably it's a feeling of home. That's all we are trying to give, I think, at the moment. And so through that, whatever humanly possible sense of stability is probably at the moment the main thing we can do. And so therefore, I'm trying to kind of link that with the so-called next generation, And so therefore, those sparks are there in, every now and then. Now, how do we nurture that, And so therefore, teacher-student relationship, I don't know exactly what it is, but I think it's something about nurturing that, gardening that, not guarding that, but gardening that.
這意味着，無論我們處於人生的任何階段或年齡，我們可能仍在努力尋找家的感覺。所以，現時佛教的環境， 這個版本形式可能提供了一種家的感覺。透過目前的環境，我們主要是盡力地提供一種穩定的感覺。我試圖解釋下佛教與下一代的關係，那些火花、熱誠時不時就會出現。我們該如何繼續培養？師徒關係能培養弟子，像利用園藝技術栽培植物一樣。
We may have to do a bit of trimming every now and then, but nevertheless, we let it more or less grow in the way it wants to grow, yet at the same time, just be there, from our, not to say from our side, but if we are playing the role of a teacher, I think, to just be there, not to force anything, but just to be there. That's why, to me, the only grandparent figure was my late grandmother, from my father's side, and probably something that I think maybe all of us can relate to, or more or less, is that maybe it's her age factor, I don't know. Having been there, done that sort of situation that she went through, and so therefore, she was just there, for all those moments that she was able to,
我們可能偶爾需要做一些修剪調教，但是我們還是或多或少地讓它自然發展。如果我們扮演老師的角色，我們只需要在那裡給予支持，不強迫任何事，只是願意支持。我唯一的祖父母形象來自於我的已故祖母，也許所有人都有這種體會，也許是他的年齡和有過各種經驗的緣故。他總是一直在那裡給我支持。
Not to say anything nowadays, this sort of thing like rebellious things about one's parents or something like that. Not in that sense, But there is a different factor, There's a different quality. Because parents have no choice but to be a little bit more than being a gardener, whereas grandparents, they have that leisure of just being there. So therefore, if we are to take up that role of a teacher, it's not to say, it's because of Kali Yuga that we can only play a grandparent role. But probably that's more or less where it is at the moment. I don't know how it will turn out, or change or form in time, I don't know. Maybe it will take a great turn and suddenly, the heydays will come back or something. I don't know. But nevertheless, this is my feeling. And so therefore, in that sense, just being there, being present, and I think that itself takes immense responsibility, I really feel. Because that means time, basically. And so therefore, it's difficult to afford that time,
我不是想說一些叛逆父母的說話，不是這樣。但你知道，祖父母具有一個不同的元素，這是一種不同的品質。父母別無選擇，他們只能比園丁、修剪樹木做得更多，而祖父母則有空間，只待在那裡給予支持。並不是說是因為末法時代 Kali Yuga， 所以當我們做老師時，我們只能扮演祖父母的角色。但目前的情況可能大致是如此。我不知道結果會如何，但可能這會轉變。 也許會發生巨大的轉變，然後突然間，鼎盛時期又回來了，或者發生其他什麼，但這就是我的感覺。因此，從這個意義上來說，我們需要待在這裡，給予支持。我認為這是一項巨大的責任，我真的這麼認為。因為這基本上意味着需要付出時間，但很難能夠付出那麼多時間。第一節完，下一節將談及怎樣維護佛法。願大家菩提上進，請點讚、分享我們的短片，訂閱我們的 YouTube 及 Facebook 頻道。